Something nefarious just happened. Vials of deadly viruses taken from a lab. Now, do we think that's just accidental? No, there's a purpose for that. We're going to talk about that story and how crazy it is. Then we're also going to discuss the 90 ships that are now circling Taiwan. While our focus has been on Syria, China is making a play. And it's because the Taiwan leader just went 2 places that they said that he shouldn't have went. We're going to talk about that story as well. Then we're going to talk about a shortage of beef, a shortage of meat. See, this is how they win and how they plan to win. They don't have to tell you you can't raise the animals. They just make it so hard to where you can't raise the animals. There's a new story that lab-grown chicken is coming to a store near you, and guess what? It does not have to be labeled so conspicuous. It can be very, very hard to realize that you're eating cell lab-grown meat. We're going to discuss that and the shortage with the cattle and a few more stories that are mind-blowing. Stay to the end of this video because it'll blow your mind on some of the things that we're going to talk about today. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Your thumbs up means the world to me, and I humbly ask that if you like it, do subscribe to the channel because it really does help us out. Now you hear the chimes. It is very windy today. We had a storm come through, so it is a windy day. So we're going to try to make this video kind of short because I am freezing. So anyways, let's dive into these stories. Now let's talk about this vials of virus taken. Now, this is no movie. This is not like Marvel Comics where, Iron Man's going to come save the day. That's not how it works. We're living in a dystopian future. And of all things, I feel like some kind of evil mastermind is going to show his face. And we laugh and jest, but honestly, what is happening here? Listen to this story. Hundreds of deadly virus samples have vanished from an Australian lab in a major breach at biosecurity. Now think about this. I say this all the time. Why do we think it's wise to research something that is extremely hazardous to us? Now here, I know people say, well, Colby, we have to know how to fight these things. Well, absolutely. But what we actually are doing is causing the thing to grow and causing the thing to mutate to make it where we want to try to beat it. And now we have someone nefariously doing something wrong, taking vials of this deadly virus. Okay, let's think about this. If you controlled a bioweapon and you're a bad player in the world, I think of a lot of bad players in the world when it comes to all these countries that don't like us, don't you think that would be a pretty big deal? This is in Australia. Well, China's close to Australia. We have a lot of other big players that don't like us. So you tell me, how does hundreds of vials of deadly virus come up missing? It says yesterday in Queensland, Health Minister Tim Nicholls has announced that 323 vials of live viruses are unaccounted for. These include nearly 100 vials of the Hendra virus, 2 vials of the Henta virus, 223 vials of the Lissa virus, all of which, listen to this, all of which are extremely dangerous to humans. Now, this is coming after several leftist scientists tell you that there's going to be an outbreak once Trump takes over. Now, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse talking about something like this for the last 3 days. But this is unbelievable. Yesterday, it was disease X in Congo. The day before, it was the fact that we didn't know what the H5N1 was going to do. Now, all of a sudden, we see vials of deadly virus missing from a biolab that's supposed to be the most secure place in the world. Is these clinics and these labs and these scientists and these people working there are just completely vetted really well. And now we're missing dangerous live viruses that can be mutated and used against, I don't know, someone. What else would you do with a live virus? You're not going to get it out and play with it. Think about it. What else do? You sell it on the black market to some bad guys. So that's what's happening in our world. Now the question is, who's going to find out about this virus strain? What's going to happen to it? Are we going to wait until it causes problems? Kind of like what's happening in the Congo? Kind of what's happening with our animals? You know, it's mind-blowing to me that we're even having these discussions, especially after what happened in 2020. Now, the second story kind of goes along with that about the fact that things are being covered up and things are not actually being told to us the truth. What about our meat, our food, the shortages? Now, before we go into that conversation, a word from our sponsor of today. This is my favorite time of year. I love spending time with my family. Well, when we talk about taking care of our family, well, what we do, we lock our doors, we make sure our home is safe, we make sure we give them a comfort to live in. Now, that's physical. What about technological? We live in a digital world, and when we think we protected our house, how protected are we? The sponsor of today's video is Home Title Lock. What we don't realize is how much people are paying in their home and how valuable their homes have become. Not only that, we don't realize how much of our digital footprint is online and how vulnerable it could be. Technology is great, but what we have come to see, and FBI warns, one of the most vulnerable things is our home title. We see that people are stealing our title, stealing our equity out of our homes. And how they're doing that, well, you won't find out until it's too late. Well, what Home Title Lock comes in and does is they monitor. They make sure that they alarm you if something is wrong, and they help for restoration. They want to make sure that not only are you protecting your home physically, you're protecting your home technologically, in the digital space. Because in the world that we're living in, that's what's happening, is people are stealing our titles and taking our safety and our security from what we've built up. Our home is our biggest asset. Do not be vulnerable when it comes to your title. Don't miss out on this opportunity to get a 30-day free trial with Home Title Lock. Go to HomeTitleLock.com/themax, get 30 days free. Let them check and make sure your title is safe. And then, again, for hardly nothing a month, make sure that you are protected and that your home is safe. Check out Home Title Lock today. You will be so happy that you did. Get the 30-day free trial below. Check the link out in the description. The U.S. cattle crisis worsens as nation's herd size completely goes to an alarming size, to where it cannot feed the populace. Now, did you see that there was no beef bills that were actually telling you can't grow beef? There was nothing like that. But just like Mark Anderson said the other day on Joe Rogan podcast, if the federal government gets so big to where they can work so much with the bigger businesses and the people who believe in their narratives, they can change the momentum and they can change the way you think as America, even without actually making law, even without making law and policy. Now, what do I mean by that? They have told you how bad beef is for so long. Now, they have taken the small farms away because of regulation and the fact it costs so much to raise animals. So what they've done is put it all under 4 big major operators that actually run the beef industry in America. Well, guess what? They've just jacked the price up so people can't afford the meat, so therefore they're not buying it. Well, then on top of that, you have the herds getting killed off and taken away because of quote-unquote the H5N1. So now they're getting rid of herds just like they're getting rid of pigs, just like they're getting rid of chickens. You don't believe it? Listen to this study. America's beef cow industry is steadily declining over the last decade, reaching 64-year lows and signaling that a deepening crisis across America in the cattle industry will happen. The shrinking beef supply has pushed the nation's herd to the smallest since 1961. And there are no more people getting into it because the cost of cows now and the inflation of cows have went so high that the local farmer and the small farm operator cannot buy the herds. I'm looking to add to my herd. Actually, we leased another property, a hayfield, and it has about 50 acres there. And guess what? I can't even buy a herd to put out there. I have to keep raising the one I have, and I love that. But I was going to buy another 5 to 10 head just to go on that other farm. But the prices are up quadruple what they're actually worth. So people like me can't just purchase the cattle. Well, when people like me can't purchase the cattle, we're not growing the heifers to grow the calves to steers to make for more beef to be on the market. And then they make the price of beef go up so much because the fact is it costs so much to raise them now because they cost too much. It's all inflationary and it's all problems caused by our government and big business. So now we have a dwindling herd. So what are people to do? I mean, we're losing chicken, pig, and cow. Well, guess what? Chicken has just made a reoccurrence that now you have as much chicken as you want. But guess what? You may not want it. Listen to this new story. Lab-grown chicken can be headed to your dinner plate any day now. Cell-cultivated meat could help feed the world of a booming population for a fraction of the land, a fraction of the water, and a fraction of the price, and help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. You see how they spin it? Your cost of chicken and cattle, because of shortages and because of inflation, has went up so much that you can't afford a typical beef burger or a good chicken that's grown organically or regeneratively on someone's land. But no, we have the solution. We're going to grow it in a petri dish for you because it's going to be less water, less feed, more chemicals, and it's going to be better for you because we can feed the world with it. Kind of sounds like GMO crops the same way. We don't want to grow good, healthy stuff for us because of the bugs and all this stuff. So let's put chemicals on it. Let's change the modifying of it to feed it to our people, and then we realize why we're unhealthy. But now, this lab-grown chicken is getting passed day in and day out. Now here's the thing. Just like the milk, milk should not be called milk if it's not milk. Almond milk, soy milk, those are not milks. They're flavored waters with a bunch of sugar and chemicals. But because we didn't have the right labeling, and the USDA and the Department of Agriculture are allowing these things to happen, you have things that are called chicken, that are called beef, that are called milk, that are not chicken, beef, and milk. See, that's how they beat you, because you don't know what you're looking at, and all of a sudden you're eating lab-grown meat before you even know it. It's passing hurdles like crazy. It's going to get passed, and it will be in your grocers before long in America. Actually, some have already made it, and you have no idea. So you think, oh, I'm buying this chicken, and this meat is a lot cheaper than what I was paying, because it may not be meat. It may be something cultivated in a petri dish. When we try to act like God, I think man will fall. God gave us beautiful animals to utilize. He gave us this earth to grow them on, to take care of them, and they take care of us. When we start trying to change that, then I think we're in for a rude awakening. Last story, because I'm literally freezing to death out here, and you can hear the chimes, the wind is not slowing down. China deploys an astonishing number of warships, up to 90, because Taiwan's president is starting to make loops to U.S. territories and states. Goes to Hawaii, goes to Guam, to just kind of promote that Taiwan is needed around the world as an independent country. Now, what China is doing, while we're focused on Syria, while the Taiwan president is trying to promote a Taiwan sovereignty, China has brought in 90 vessels to surround Taiwan. While all eyes are on Syria, and this is a story from Zero Hedge, it says China's military has been making big moves. And interesting enough, they're trying to do it all before Trump takes office. Taiwan's defense minister announced Tuesday that they are monitoring a surge of Chinese military activities in the Taiwan Strait in the Western Pacific. The state is on high alert. The state is on high alert because they know at any point in time, China could cause problems or chaos or crises, and we could end up in a conflict with China. It says they're already doing military drills to overwhelm us right beside us. So we look out and we see what's going on. It's all about making us feel inferior to China. The astonishing number of these vessels have been deployed and looks to be an external threat. Taiwan says, well, China should actually announce that they're doing drills out in our waters just so we know everybody is on the same page. Well, they've not announced it, but they're provoking it. And why do you think they're provoking it? Because everything else in the world is falling to pieces, and they're like, hey, we better get our chunk of the pie and start these talks and start this move on Taiwan like we wanted. And we're wanting to do most of this before Trump. Now, what we've probably forgot is there's 3 aircraft carriers of ours heading right now to Taiwan, heading to the Indo-Pacific, heading to the Asian seas, the South China Sea. Now, this is the area that's been very volatile for a long time, dealing with these people groups, dealing with all these countries that we have no business being over there, but we're so dependent on all the stuff that we're getting from Taiwan, China, and Japan that we have to put our 2 cents in. What we're going to do is end up in a major conflict over there. While everybody's focused on the Middle East, while everybody's focused on Ukraine, we're sending warships over to China, and then China has 90 ships surrounding Taiwan. This will not end well unless Trump has some major negotiations and some serious talks with Chinese leader and Russia leader Putin. But no, our focus is going to be on Syria, remember? Did you hear Syria this week? They're starting to kill an overwhelming amount of individuals who is going against part of the rebels. The civil war is now kicked off. So while everybody was wanting to get Assad out, everybody was applauding Assad's leave from there. Not that I like the guy, he was an evil guy too. But now there's more war, more killing than ever before now. Since the first civil war that Trump said we should stay out of, 2013 and 2016 time. Come on. Sometimes if we just listen to our common sense and not our politicians, we'd realize how stupid we actually look when it comes to all these conflicts, when all we have to do is just keep our nose out of it, keep growing our economy, and then we're so strong that people end up wanting to be like us and not start these conflicts. If we would learn to just keep our nose out of their business, I promise you, our cattle business would get better. Our chicken business would get better. We wouldn't worry about diseases and vials because we would be so protected here with borders closed up, with people not coming in. And the fact is, if we grow our economy and we start being so independent that China, Russia needs our goods, what happens is then we have an upper foot to then we can negotiate and make sure there's peace around the world. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Remember to check out Home Title Lock. They are a phenomenal sponsor, but more than that, they are a phenomenal product. We believe in them. We have a lifelong coverage here because we want our title safe. Not only our home safe physically, we want our digital footprint of our home safe. So check out Home Title Lock today. It's one of the best investments you'll do for literally pennies a day. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless. Have a phenomenal day. And ultimately, when all else fails and you're worried and have a little fear and anxiety, think about all the blessings you have and how God has taken care of us for so long. God bless.